All right, welcome to the deep dive.
Great to be here.
So today we're looking at some source material that came across our desk. It's all about a new resource in medical education.
Specifically in endocrinology.
Exactly, endocrinology. That super important, sometimes pretty complex field, hormones, glands, all that internal messaging stuff.
Yeah, absolutely fundamental. It controls so much: metabolism, growth, mood, you name it. Getting a handle on it is key for anyone in medicine.
For sure. And this source material we have, it's basically excerpts describing a new book. It's by a Dr. Atef Ahmed.
Right. 100 questions and answers in endocrinology for medical students. That's the title mentioned.
Yeah, that's the one. And the description we've seen really talks it up, calls it like a comprehensive guide, an essential resource.
Sets the bar pretty high from the get-go.
It does. So look, our job today isn't to actually review the book itself. We haven't read it.
Right.
We're just unpacking what this description, this source material is telling us. What's the pitch? Who is it supposedly for?
And why is it being presented as this must-have tool for learning about endocrine systems? According to the source, anyway.
Exactly. It's like a shortcut to understanding how this particular resource is being marketed and positioned.
Okay, makes sense. Let's get into it.
Okay, so Section 1, the resource itself. The book is 100 questions and answers in endocrinology for medical students.
And the author, Dr. Atef Ahmed. The description makes a point of mentioning his background.
It does, yeah. Says he has years of experience in medical education.
So the implication there is, he understands how students learn.
Right.
What the tricky parts are, presumably.
Right. It suggests the book isn't just content, but content structured by someone who knows teaching.
And the language used in the description is, well, quite strong.
Yeah. Groundbreaking new book, essential resource. Those aren't small claims.
No, groundbreaking especially. That suggests it's doing something really different or significantly better.
And calling it essential right away. That tells you how they want you to see it. Not just helpful, but core.
Like, you need this if you're serious about learning endocrinology. That's the message.
Which brings us nicely to the next bit. Who is this actually for, according to the source, and why?
Well, the primary audience is clearly medical students. The description flat out calls it an essential tool for them.
Right, that's explicit.
But it doesn't stop there. It also mentions healthcare professionals.
Oh, yeah. How so?
Suggests it can be a quick reference guide for them.
Yeah.
So maybe for someone already practicing who needs a refresher or a quick answer.
Okay, that makes sense. Students learning, professionals referencing.
And one more group, aspiring endocrinologists. For them, it's framed as a foundational resource.
Foundational. So like the first step on that specialist path.
Seems to be the idea. So it's trying to hit quite a few levels, from student to specialist in training.
Okay, so why do they say these groups will benefit? What's this supposed advantage?
For students, the big sell seems to be about understanding and complexity. The description says it helps deepen understanding and, I like this phrase, demystifies complexities.
Demystifies. That's a good word. Endocrinology can definitely feel like a bit of a mystery sometimes with all those feedback loops and things.
Exactly. So the promise is clarity, making something hard feel more approachable.
And it's not just about the theory, is it? The source mentions something else.
Well, yeah, clinical relevance. Big emphasis on that. Preparing students for real-life medical scenarios.
Which is crucial, right? You don't just learn this stuff for exams. You need to use it with patients.
Absolutely. And speaking of exams, it also mentions it's invaluable for exam preparation.
Makes sense, given the Q&A format, probably.
And then for the professionals, it loops back to being that handy reference for clinical practice.
So study tool, practice tool. It's trying to be versatile.
Yeah, the overall pitch is that it's a pathway to mastering a crucial aspect of medical science.
Which, as we said, endocrinology definitely is. Understanding hormones is fundamental to health and disease.
So the how becomes really important then. What's actually inside this book, according to the description?
Right, the structure. It's in the title. 100 questions and answers. That's the core.
100 detailed ones, apparently.
How?
And the description claims this covers the breadth and depth of the field.
Which is a bold claim for 100 questions, but okay. Does it say what kind of topics?
It mentions a range from basic hormonal functions to intricate endocrine disorders. Doesn't list specifics in the excerpts we saw, but promises that scope.
So basics and the complex stuff.
Yeah, and it makes a point about the answers, too. They aren't just, A or B.
What does it say?
That they come with detailed explanations and insights. The idea seems to be that the explanation is where the real learning happens.
Okay, so it's not just testing recall, it's actively teaching through the answers, enhancing the learning experience, as the source puts it.
Exactly. Less like flashcards, maybe more like mini tutorials tied to specific questions.
That Q&A format itself seems key to the whole pitch.
Definitely. The description really highlights it, says it presents info in an easy-to-understand way.
And connects back to that demystify the complexities idea again, right?
It explicitly says the format is designed to do that.
You know, when you think about learning something like endocrinology, that Q&A approach, it kind of forces you to engage differently, doesn't it?
How do you mean?
Well, instead of just reading a chapter, you're faced with a question. You have to, like, retrieve the information or apply a concept.
Right, it's more active. It probably helps you figure out what you don't know pretty quickly.
Exactly. For you, the listener, trying to learn this stuff thoroughly but maybe efficiently, that structure could be really powerful. It mimics exams. It mimics thinking through a clinical problem.
Yeah, it's less passive reading, more applied thinking, baked right into the structure. Seems like the core selling point.
It really does. Okay, so the description also gets practical. Where can people actually get this book?
It mentions two places, Dr. Atef's website and Amazon. Pretty standard channels.
Makes it easy to find them.
Yeah, and there's a call to action, as you'd expect.
Let me guess. Order your copy today.
Pretty much. It says, dive into this book to emerge with a stronger, more comprehensive understanding. And then, yeah, order your copy today and take the first step towards mastering the world of endocrinology.
Standard marketing language,
Yep.
but it reinforces that mastery goal.
Absolutely. And one other thing, the original source material we saw also had this, like, long list of keywords attached.
Oh, yeah. Like what?
Things like hormone disorders, diagnostics, treatments, research, medical education,
Yeah.
a whole bunch of related endocrinology topics.
But not necessarily chapter titles in the book.
Probably not all of them directly, no. But it helps paint the picture of the broader field, the whole landscape that this book is supposed to help you navigate and ultimately master. It shows the context.
Gotcha. Okay, let's try and wrap this up. Based only on the source material we've looked at, what's the distilled version?
All right, so we're talking about 100 Questions and Answers in Endocrinology for Medical Students by Dr. Atef Ahmed.
Who's highlighted for his medical education background?
Right. And the description pitches it very strongly. Groundbreaking, essential, big words.
The target audience is mainly medical students, but it also ropes in healthcare professionals for reference and aspiring specialists for foundations.
And the claimed benefits are all about making a complex subject easier, demystifies, making it clinically relevant, helping with exams and practice.
Ultimately positioning it as a tool for mastering endocrinology.
The key feature, hammered home in the description, is that Q&A format. 100 questions with detailed, insightful answers covering the supposed breadth of the topic.
A format designed for easier understanding.
And finally, it's presented as easily available online with that clear call to action to buy it and start mastering the subject.
Okay, so that's the picture painted by the description.
Yep, that's the essence of the source material's claims.
You know, thinking about this, the description really leans on this structured Q&A approach with detailed answers as the key to unlocking a complex field and preparing you for real-life scenarios.
It does. That structure is central.
It makes you wonder, could that kind of focused, problem-based learning format designed to both test and explain simultaneously be a game changer for how you approach learning other really complex, hands-on subjects?
Like outside of medicine even.
Yeah, maybe. Think about engineering or law or even, I don't know, complex coding, fields where just knowing facts isn't enough, you have to apply them. Could breaking them down into targeted questions and deep dive answers really demystify those complexities too?
It's an interesting thought. How widely applicable is that focused Q&A model for true mastery beyond just exam prep?
Something for you to maybe ponder as you tackle whatever complex thing you're learning next?